Hello, I'm Mazz, and at the moment I'm the lead back-end engineer working at a company called Unmade. Despite the trembling in my voice and the slight look of terror in my face, I am genuinely excited to be here today, because as James alluded to, Monki Gras got a really special place in my heart, because it was James who took a chance on me 5 years ago in 2013 and gave me my first ever proper speaking opportunity. And here I am, opening the second day for you all after yesterday's amazing lineup of speakers, so no pressure, Mazz. Right, so on with the show. Today I'm going to talk about sustainability in a tech startup. I'm going to briefly cover the fashion industry and its current evolution. I'll do a little bit of description about what Unmade does and why, so that I can then highlight some of the major challenges we face in a startup code base, talk a little bit about team sustainability, wrap up, then sit the fuck down and breathe. So, let's talk about the fashion industry. The fashion industry is in the middle of a huge change. Mass production of products are made months in advance, and they're designed for an average and best, well-educated guess at what will sell. But people aren't average, and consumer demand has evolved. They want uniqueness and variety, and trends can unexpectedly emerge. So how has the supply chain responded? I think if the fashion industry was starting over again today, with all the technology available, it'd look really different. Because sadly right now, I don't want to start on a sad note, but it's pretty broken. Because the production of products are made months in advance, at least 10% of all products end up going to a landfill. That's brand new clothing, unused, going straight into the bin. And that's massively inefficient and really terrible for the environment. And imagine if 10% of all new cars made just went straight to the scrap heap and were crushed. That just wouldn't happen. So why is it okay that this happens within the fashion industry? Well, we do live in a capitalist society, so to help companies put this in a language they understand, that represents $100 billion of waste in a $1.4 trillion industry. That's bananas. But some brands do realize this and have capitalized on being different. Zara, for example, they've built an $80 billion empire, and not just because their clothes look really awesome, but because they were able to shorten the production cycle from 2 months to 2 weeks. So this meant that they could react to the emerging trends and get garments in their stores way ahead of their competitors. So what is the next step in the responsive supply chain? Well, new software that connects design to production has transformed other industries. For example, 3D printing has helped transform aerospace. Boeing, back in 2003, were flying with only a handful of 3D printed parts in their aircraft. But I did a bit of Googling, and in 2018, Boeing has over 50,000 3D printed components of various types flying in their aircraft today. Advancement in production machines, BMW can make a car in 20 hours. And medical prototyping, let's look to our friend Zandiamo, who use 3D scanning and 3D printing to provide custom-fit orthotics for disabled children with a 2-week turnaround rather than 6 months. That's amazing. I love Andiamo, they're amazing. And then in retail, there's definitely a desire for customization. You only need to look at Nike. Their customized trainers make up 25% of all of their online sales. I still don't have a pair, I should totally sort that out. Which brings me to Unmade. It's a company that was, a startup that was founded in 2013 by Kirsty Emery, Hal Watts, and Alan Jones. So what does Unmade do? Well, the official tagline, and I should know this off the top of my head, so don't tell them I don't, Unmade is a complete digital solution enabling brands to offer customizable products and manufacture the result. What does that even mean? I don't work in the marketing department. Right, I'll tell you what that means. It means using some of the latest technology to create the automation of industrial knitting machines that enables you to create and sell on-demand products. So only create what you've sold, no more unused stock going into a landfill, no more waste, step 4 profit. Sweet. Wait, hang on, did I just say automated knitting machines? Yes, I did. It's pretty fucking cool, actually. How are we able to do that? Well, I don't know if anyone knows this. I didn't know this. There are only 2 companies that provide 98% of the world's industrial flatbed knitting machines. There's Stoll, which is German, and Shima, that's Japanese. We have one of each in the office. I hide in there when I'm trying to avoid meetings. And using a small piece of kit which we install into factories, that just allows us remote connection to their networks so that we can connect directly to the machine over the internet and interface with their software. So you can upload, download to the machines, upload, download, the custom knitting programs it needs. So, it sounds cool, Mazz, but why don't the knitting machine companies do this? Well, automating the machines is only a small part of the problem. Oops. There's several stages involved in the global supply chain for on-demand knitwear. Take a deep breath. First, there's the user-facing customization editor. This tool is integrated into the brand's website, allowing their consumers to customize a product. When they purchase that product, our platform then integrates with the brand's e-commerce system to get the order back out again and put into Unmade's OMS, which is Order Manufacturing System. That OMS then handles the flow of the garment through the factory. It takes care of the uniquely compiled knitting programs and all of the supporting documents needed. Then we integrate with third-party shipping providers like DHL and FedEx to generate the shipping labels for the product. And I don't know how many of you have ever done integrations with third-party providers. DHL is XML and terrible documentation. It was a tough time. So it's no easy feat. And doing that shipping is a massive change for the factories because they're used to making hundreds of garments all in one go, chucking it in a container, shipping it off, and then somebody else's distribution center breaks it all down. Well, now we're asking them to handle drop shipping straight to the customer. It's a challenge. And then once that custom-made product is made and is shipped, we then utilize our integration with the brand's e-commerce system back up to close the loop so that they know that the product has been shipped and the customer gets a very nice branded shipping confirmation that the thing they've bought is on their way. Easy, right? No problem at all. That's quite a lot. I've said it really fast, but that's quite a lot involved in a complete supply chain, which brings me on to some of the major code challenges we face. I could write like hours worth of talk about all of this, so I've tried to just pick like the top 2. But if you see me later, I'll be quite happy to wave my hands around and talk more about it. So the first thing is the user-facing customization editor, which is a JavaScript UI embedded into the brand's website via an iframe. Now, I'm not a front-end dev, but I do have to understand how that front-end calls out to the back-end through various APIs. But I can tell you that this is a major challenge because it's vital that the user experience is fast, clear, and easy to use. It has to be seamlessly integrated and work across desktop and mobile. And making a customization editor that is clear and easy to use when consumers haven't really seen customization before or understand all the things that they can customize, that's quite complicated. But thankfully, I don't have to do that. Our ACE designers and front-end team work very hard to take care of that. Things I do have to care about, any kind of culture or company change is going to be hard, like really hard, whether you've worked at a startup before or not. Because if you take a code base that started out as more like R&D, which is research and design, or proof of concept, and then great, you get money, great, you've got clients, you've now got to take that code base and transform it into something that has expected SLAs, which is service level agreements. That means your shit stays up. That's quite tricky. And one of the challenges I face as the lead engineer, back-end engineer, is handling that balance between refactoring, improvements, a few sticky plasters to keep things going, but also delivering new features all at the same time, because you can't just go, oh, we're not going to do anything for 6 months while I rewrite all this stuff. Because if you're a startup, it's like, great, you've just run out of money. So this is a real challenge, balancing that. And we're making conscious, iterative decisions all the time. And it's one of those things that I run into. I don't know if any of you've noticed, that the tech industry can be a little bit opinionated sometimes. And everyone has like the perfect way or this design pattern or whatever. And my one is that there's no such thing as a perfect design. And what works now won't be true in 6 months, or what's good enough for now won't be true when you sign N number of clients. Or, you know what, it works for now, so just fucking don't touch it. So I am always asking that, is it good enough for now? And the architecture emerges as we develop. Because there are quite a few API endpoints, it's all written in Python 3. I love Python, so that's kind of yay me. And using the Django REST framework. So we do make use of open source. And just a minor point, we also contribute back. So Tom Christie, the lovely person who does Django REST framework, we sponsor him, and we paid him to come in and do a little bit of work with us. So pay open source people. Show a little love to your maintainers. So yeah, and he is lovely, so you should also hire him. So yeah, these APIs handle so many different things. There's the submission of the customized design data, there's order data, there's factory endpoints, there's so much. And I don't have time to sit in a room for 2 months and draw up the perfect architecture. So how do I deal with this? Well, my approach is to not get attached to any one bit of code. I literally don't care. In fact, my favorite thing is deleting code. And I know that, again, that's probably going to go against some of the best practices. But it's if you write code that is easy to delete or move around, I think that's far better than have a little bit of repetition in your code. Like, I know we regurgitate the idiom, don't repeat yourself, but you know what? Sometimes it's okay. I'd rather have that than a tangle of abstracted purity that is so difficult and slow to work with. I just hide under my desk and go, why? Dramatic pause. One of the other challenges is that the work we're doing is unlike anything else that's happening in the customization space right now. And that is both exciting and terrifying and exciting. Oh God, why? Why have I done this to myself again? The editors we're providing allows a kind of interaction and customization that people haven't used, seen, or experienced before. The interactive editor that you can see behind me is for a customizable Breton jumper, and it was featured in an installation in the MoMA Gallery in New York. I didn't get to go to New York. And one of our customized jumpers has been purchased by the V&A for one of their exhibitions. And for me, that's pretty fucking cool. It is really exciting to be working on something that's a little bit different and one that has a tangible end product. It's not just another CMS. I'm a bit bored of them. Not to diss anyone who does CMSs, I'm just a bit bored of them. I've been doing it for 15 years, I'm a little bit bored of them. Anyway, enough infusing about the cool bits, back to challenges. Major challenge is manufacturing. We work with factories from around the world, Indonesia, LA, Romania, and even exotic faraway locations like Scotland, to name a few. The challenge here is that they're all remote, so you have to spend time to really learn and understand the manufacturing process. When we send the compiled, customized knitting programs to these remote machines, if you have a bug in your code, one, it's not something you can Google or use Stack Overflow for. The second bit is that you can potentially shear off a whole row of needles, and that costs £50,000 to fix. So, no pressure. And there's also understanding the challenges that the factory workers face. It's efficiency. Time is money, right? So when producing a garment with different colors, the factory worker has to physically take the cones of wool off, on and off the tops of the machines. And we've recently finished work on the beginnings of this little algorithm that sequences jobs together so that they can minimize how many times they have to change the cones, making it more time efficient. And there's definitely more to be done here, but the first version's working well so far, so that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. When working with manufacturing, you need to reassess any assumptions that you may have about how you think things work in a factory. Each factory has a different workflow, and depending on the garments they're making, they will have different requirements in terms of manufacturing data, machine setup, tension control, and various other very technical bits about knitting. And this is where taking the time to understand, along with factory visits, really helps. I know that the job that we do as developers is quite hard, but you should go and spend a day in a factory. It opens your eyes. And we've worked hard. We've worked really hard to understand these needs. And one of the things that slightly surprised me, it shouldn't have, but it did, was that not everyone has access to a computer. In fact, most of the factory workers don't have access. They all work off of paper. So you have one supervisor that comes in at the beginning of the day who's allowed access to the computer, prints off all this paperwork, and then is farmed out to the various factory workers in the day. So we have to cater for this, and we have, excuse me, a little service which takes HTML, generates a PDF document that provides all the data and all the measurements in a way that can be clearly understood by everyone, which is vital because when you're dealing with factories around the world, not everybody speaks English, but it's still on us to make sure that that information is available and clear. Paperwork, yay. So while they are definitely only the highlights of our code challenges, believe me, there are so many more. The bigger challenge, in my opinion, is one of sustaining growth in a way that helps a business to succeed, but also doesn't burn people out, as Jess mentioned yesterday as well. Because when a team is working really well, from the outside, it can look effortless. I tell you right now, it fucking isn't. It so isn't. A lot of conscious effort and hard work goes into making sure that things run efficiently, smoothly, and in an inclusive and welcoming environment. Like this photo, take for example, it's from a Ralph Lauren photo shoot. There would have been whole teams of people choosing the clothes, the accessories, the hair, the makeup, the lighting, the location, how she was sitting on the chair, the direction, and even like the technical bits of the actual photography. That's a lot. And the end result looks amazing. This is like, I like this photo, so I want to be as cool as that one day, maybe one day. And the end result does look amazing, and you can't always see the organized chaos going on behind the scenes. Also, organized chaos is Mazz speak as an affectionate term for the lightweight, agile process. That's what I call it anyway. In tech, no matter what pithy rhetoric you may have printed out on the wall of your office, or what you may say if you stand up here or giving another conference talk, doesn't really matter. Because what matters is your actions and how you behave every single day. That's what has the impact, not just catchphrases. So, how often do you really take a look at that behavior? How often do you reflect on how your actions affect those in the team? Or what about how your actions affect the wider business? Are there things that you could do differently that would have a more positive impact? And this is one for me that I've been learning a lot recently. Are there things others in your team could do to help support you? Because people aren't mind readers, so sometimes it's about asking for support or asking for help. And a collaborative effort is far greater than any individual. So how do we optimize for a good team? Well, to start with, do we even know what a good tech team looks like? Spoilers, I've got some opinions. For me, it won't be one that is micromanaged, drowning in process and endless JIRA tickets. Or one that is full of toxic rockstar developers that can't work with others. Nor is it one that contains 10x heroes. That culture is so fucking harmful, it makes me mad, so I'm gonna steer myself away from that, because I could do a whole rant, probably later. But let's try to focus on the positives of what is a good team. A good team is trusted to solve problems. I mean really trust, not just lip service trust. They feel supported by having the right tools and processes for getting the job done. A good team has room to make mistakes and learn from them together. A good team has a variety of individual strengths that complement each other. They're given the opportunity to tackle that uncertainty and figure shit out together. A good team is one that has a common goal and knows which direction they're all going in and why. And when a good team comes together and truly collaborates, they can even save the world. And I know I'd like to be in a team like that, especially if it has proton packs. So we know that sustaining team growth takes conscious effort, reflection, and a definition of what a good team is. So how do we build out that team? Which brings me to my final challenge. And I've restricted myself to one slide so I don't talk for 4 hours, the rest of the industry. It's 2018 and the tech industry is still terrible at hiring. I did a quick Twitter poll. Which of the following do you think is most controversial? I had to specifically say don't at me so I didn't get reckons. This one you can't quite see, I apologize. It says, GitHub is not your CV, meritocracy is a lie, and 10x devs are bullshit. And the one at the end that got the most votes, which was really surprising, was hiring only seniors. Interesting. All those other points are fucking bananas, and I wish they'd stop, but I'm not going to get mad. It's too early in the morning. So I'm going to focus on the end one, which is having a team made up of only senior developers and only wanting to employ senior developers. I don't know at what point did the tech industry suddenly decide this. It's not sustainable. You can't Amazon Prime some more fucking senior devs. Like, why? No, I said I wasn't going to get angry. And where did the notion come from that having a team of just senior people makes it better than if you have a balanced team with a distribution of skills? Any workplace will have a wide variety of work, which to some devs may find boring, like myself. I don't want to do another CMS. I've sold it a few times. I want to do something else. But to someone else, that's an amazing opportunity and will really help them to learn and grow into a senior developer. Ugh, stop it. Also, consider this. If you're only hiring senior developers, that's another way of keeping underrepresented folks out, because there's hiring biases going on here too. Because remember, men are judged on potential, women are judged on their track record. And if you don't believe me, Google it. This can make it really difficult, not just for women, but all members of underrepresented groups, to even get considered or promoted into more senior roles. And they are frequently left watching less experienced folks get promoted over them, and then they get trapped. So just have a bit of a think about that. Because let's face it, a developer's job isn't just about writing code either. You have a responsibility to learn how to communicate and help others. And that does come in many forms. If you only have a team of senior developers, how are they getting the opportunity to learn some of the next level communication skills, which might be a really painful one, like shutting up, which seems to be really difficult for many people. I don't know why. Another one is putting their ego to one side. Again, like, come on. But seriously, there's also the learning to coach or mentor or lead or helping to prioritize the team over yourself. And if everybody is senior, you don't get that chance. And then how about giving them a chance to learn about ops? As Charity was saying yesterday, and in a blog post she wrote that was really great, about being a bit of a pendulum of like, you want to do a bit of this tech, and now let's go and be a bit of a manager. Actually, I've had enough of that, now let's go back and do these other things. Giving people a chance, like putting them on core rotations, exposure to being a product manager. We have got to break out of this checkbox thinking and give people the opportunity to shine. And I'm going to stop ranting now. So, I'm running over, I'm really sorry, I've got like 2 things left. So finally, what can you do to help yourself deal with all these challenges? Apart from learning to breathe, stay hydrated, well, read more books. I love books. Seriously, I've never had a good manager in my whole fucking life. And most of what I've learned to propel my own career forward has been from books and TV shows, but we'll talk about that later, another time. And convincing people to give me a chance. So I'm just going to share with you 4 books real quick that is like, will help. Firstly, there's Brené Brown's books. Any of her books are amazing, but this one especially was fantastic. It's called Daring Greatly, and there's a great long title. Daring Greatly really did give me greater courage to be myself, and it takes great strength to demonstrate vulnerability, especially in an industry that will try and make you believe it's a weakness. It fucking is not. Secondly, Mindset is a book by Dr. Carol Dweck, and it's especially useful in learning the difference between a fixed mindset, so either you're born with it or you're not, and a growth mindset, meaning given the right conditions and support, you can have a go and learn anything. And I honestly think a lot of the obstacles I've faced in my career have been from people coming from a very fixed mindset of either you instantly know how to do something or you don't. And I'm more of the you can learn and figure things out. So here's a secret, don't tweet this and don't tell anyone. Every job I have turned up to do, I've had no fucking clue how to do. I started at GDS, I didn't know how to code Ruby. In 3 months I was their tech lead there. It's like every job I've got a track record of going, I don't know, let's figure it out, yay! Which is Mazz style, but anyway. Thirdly, this book, Primal Leadership, don't worry too much about the title. It's not the greatest title, but it is a really helpful book. Even if you're not at a stage in your career where you're thinking of taking on a leadership position, it really helped me to recognize and understand what skills and styles are involved in being a good leader or a not so good leader. And I go back to this book often to top up and work on my own leadership skills. It was after being told at one particular place that I needed to step up, take charge. And I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? I don't understand what you want from me. So I went and read this book and I went, oh, you think the only way to lead is by commanding. Okay, let's do a little bit of diplomacy and do this bit. It's honestly, ignore the title, read it anyway. And then, I have to mention this one. I got it patched, I was so happy. You should all buy this book as well. I've only just started reading this book by Lane and Charity about database reliability engineering. And I'm bringing this up specifically because, again, secret, I know fuck all about database reliability engineering, and that's okay, because now I'm going to read a book, and then I'm going to get to talk to some people, and I'm going to learn shit. And isn't that awesome? Because in my experience, the person you need to learn to rely on the most to help you develop is yourself. No one else will sustain you throughout your career. It's on you. And you know what? You've got this. Thank you.